Hello, welcome to my channel Inside Information. 6. Big mistakes that sank the Unsinkable. Titanic. The tragic sinking of the RMS Titanic on April 15, 1912, is one of the most infamous maritime disasters in history. Dubbed Unsinkable, the ship met its fate on its maiden voyage after colliding with an iceberg in the North Atlantic. While many factors contributed to the disaster, several key mistakes played pivotal roles in the ship's downfall. Here are 6 critical errors that led to the sinking of the Titanic. 1. Ignoring iceberg warnings. In the hours leading up to the disaster, the Titanic received multiple warnings from other ships about icebergs in the area. These messages, sent via wireless telegraph, were either ignored or not given the urgent attention they required. The ship's crew and Captain Edward Smith failed to reduce speed or change course significantly despite the warnings, ultimately leading to the collision with an iceberg. 2. High speed in dangerous waters. Despite being in an area known for icebergs, the Titanic was traveling at nearly full speed, about 22.5 knots, on the night of the disaster. This decision was likely influenced by the desire to arrive in New York ahead of schedule, showcasing the ship's speed capabilities. However, this high speed significantly reduced the crew's ability to react to any potential hazards, including the iceberg that eventually caused the ship's demise. 3. Insufficient lifeboats. One of the most glaring oversights was the inadequate number of lifeboats on board. The Titanic was equipped with only 20 lifeboats, enough to accommodate roughly 1,178 people, less than half of the 2,224 passengers and crew on board. This shortage was a result of outdated maritime safety regulations and the belief that the ship was virtually unsinkable. As a result, when the ship began to sink, there were not enough lifeboats to save everyone. 4. Flawed design of the watertight compartments. The Titanic's design featured 16 watertight compartments, which were intended to keep the ship afloat even if several were breached. However, the bulkhead separating these compartments did not extend high enough to prevent water from spilling over into adjacent compartments once the ship began to tilt. After the iceberg ruptured several compartments, water quickly flooded the lower sections of the ship, leading to its eventual sinking. 5. Delayed evacuation orders. When the iceberg struck, there was confusion and hesitation among the crew regarding the severity of the situation. Captain Smith delayed giving the order to evacuate, believing the ship would stay afloat longer. By the time evacuation orders were given, precious time had already been lost, and many lifeboats were launched partially filled due to the lack of urgency and poor coordination among the crew. 6. Failure to communicate the severity of the situation. In the chaotic moments following the collision, the severity of the situation was not fully communicated to the passengers. Many were initially unaware of the danger they were in, leading to a delayed response in boarding the lifeboats. The lack of clear communication and the initial downplaying of the disaster's seriousness contributed to the high death toll. Conclusion. The sinking of the Titanic was a tragic event that resulted from a combination of human errors, design flaws, and complacency. Each of these 6 mistakes contributed to the disaster in different ways, turning what was supposed to be a triumphant maiden voyage into one of history's most heartbreaking tragedies. The lessons learned from the Titanic's sinking have since led to significant improvements in maritime safety regulations, ensuring that such a catastrophe is never repeated.